Good day, and welcome back to the simulated 2024 F1 World Championship. This is round number 3 of 24, taking place from Melbourne in Australia. That's right, we're heading to the land down under for a race that I'll have to get up at 4 AM to watch. Woe is me. Yes, this is a joke. I know this is the norm for a lot of other people. I'm not that much of a whiny bitch. If you have already seen my previous video, then I'll remind you of the simulated standings after the Saudi Arabian GP. So, we actually have Yuki Tsunoda in the Cash Money team leading the way with 30 points after a couple of third place finishes. Following him is Perez and Alonso, both on 26 points, with Verstappen 1 point behind them after bouncing back from a first round DNF to win in Saudi. Fifth is Alex Albon, who got so close to taking a shock victory last time out. Hamilton is in 6th with the same points as Albon, with Leclerc following close behind in 7th. Gasly is 8th in the Alpine, followed by Magnussen in the Haas, and Carlos Sainz, now with one less appendix, rounds up the top 10. As for the constructors, Red Bull still lead the way with 51 points, followed by their sister team RB with 34 points. Aston Martin are in 3rd purely thanks to Alonso, with Ferrari, Mercedes and Williams falling behind them. Alpine are in 7th, Haas 8th, Sauber are in 9th, and, rather depressingly for me, McLaren are at the back with a solitary point. Compared to the actual standings, we still have a Red Bull 1-2 on top, with Verstappen continuing his 2024 dominance tour in earnest, followed by Perez. Leclerc occupies P3 with Russell and Piastri in 4th and 5th, Sainz holds P6 after missing the Saudi GP, with Alonso and Norris tied for points in 7th and 8th. Hamilton is 9th with fellow Brit Oliver Bearman, who subbed in for Sainz at the Saudi GP, rounding up the top 10. As for the constructors, Red Bull have a chokehold with near maximum points, followed by Ferrari. McLaren and Mercedes are locked in a battle for 3rd, with Aston Martin sitting comfortably in 5th. Haas are 6th with 1 point, and the rest of the teams are yet to get on the board. Now, we will find out who we will be racing as for the Australian GP. With Ocon removed from the wheel, we now have 18 drivers left, so let's see who gets picked for round 3. And it's none of the Aussies for their home race, but we do get one of their teammates, as we will be racing as Lando Norris in the McLaren. Can we get McLaren's simulated season jump-started down under? It's time for the Australian Grand Prix. Did you see the invisible tyres they had there? I wonder if that's a weight-saving strategy for McLaren. Hopefully that will save them maybe a couple of attempts, who knows. But anyway, here's our Q1 lap. We're beginning here, heading into the first couple of corners. We did have a bit of a disaster class in the qualifying for Saudi last time out with Ocon, so hopefully we do a little bit better here. It's going pretty well so far. Not much to comment about. Going pretty well. The tyres have come back actually, so I guess they kind of ditched the invisible tyre weight saving thing. But anyway, we're done with sector 1, where we actually set a purple sector 1, but we do mess up that right-hander there. The exit was a little bit scruffy, so we definitely lost a bit of time down there as we head through the new section they added a couple of years ago. They removed the chicane and made this completely flat out, along with a DRS zone. Don't mind my phone in the background, it's doing notification things. I'm sure that was very distracting. Sector 2, we didn't set a purple sector 2, which means we definitely lost a bit of time, definitely that corner, as we head into this new profile right-hander, where we also kind of mess up at the exit there with not being able to get on the power as we head through the final couple of corners. I forget how fast the lap is now with the modifications, but nonetheless, we come down the start-finish straight to set our first lap time for Q1, and it's P5 currently, but Gasly behind us set a faster lap. My problem is, though, is that I didn't have enough time to set another lap, and with everyone else setting a faster lap, I fell down the order, and I've been eliminated in Q1 again, along with Piastri, Magnussen, Stroll, and Sargent. Shame for me. But hey, it's one place better than I did last time, so I guess we'll take that. And hopefully we can do better in the race. So, with that being said, it's time for the Australian GP.
Welcome to Albert Park for the Australian Grand Prix. For many years, it was the season opener, but in recent times, it fell victim to the pandemic reshuffling. I'm happy to say it is now back at the heart of the F1 calendar. It's Albert Park circuit, 3.2 miles of bumpy city streets. We have changed the turns at 1, 3, 6 and 13. They have all been widened. We've got rid of the chicane at 9 and 10. That is now a flat-out right-hander. It's a new look that made its debut in 2022. New life into an old classic. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Fernando Alonso lines up on pole position, just edging out Alex Albon, who will start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Sainz, Tsunoda, Verstappen, Leclerc, Gasly, Perez, Ricciardo, Zhou, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Hamilton, Bottas, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Norris, Stroll and Logan Sargent. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And we welcome Natalie Pinkham to the comment box once again. Nats, no weather issues to worry about. It is dry and glorious out there. Everyone can focus on the racing.
Well, the regulations aren't new anymore, but the teams and the drivers are still coming to terms with them. I firmly believe it's also track-specific. We've seen some wheel-to-wheel racing throughout the year. Some tracks lend themselves better to it than others. I'd like to see it at every race in the whole season. Is that too much to ask?
Well, according to the IRL season, yes, that is too much to ask. So here we are on the grid. Both McLarens not doing too well in qualifying. Looking at the lap times, it seemed like it rained in Q3, which kind of mixed up the order since we have Fernando Alonso and Alex Albon in the top two there on the front row. But yeah, I'm looking at my strategy and I've decided to modify it a little bit here. Going from a soft, medium strategy, doing 2 stops. Modifying the lap counts here. Seems like I've got a bit of a thing. It says my projected race time is about... I'm still changing. Hold on. I actually changed it to soft, medium, soft. I forgot. I did this race like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we're doing soft, medium, soft. We're doing the 2-stop strat. Hopefully it'll work out for us. We're going to start off on the softs. We'll see what everyone else is starting on here. And yeah, it's kind of a mixture. We got everyone who got eliminated in Q1 starting on the softs, along with Tsunoda in P4. A lot of people starting on mediums. We have 3 people starting on hards, which are Verstappen, Hülkenberg and Russell. So we got a bit of a mix of strategies going on here. Could make for a very interesting race. But hey-oh, we're starting P18. We got nothing to lose, except for our dignity. So hopefully we have got it right, and not horribly wrong. We did get it horribly wrong in Saudi, mainly because I didn't brake early enough for turn 1. And that very much compromised our race. So hopefully I don't do the same thing again here. As we look at this static camera angle at the last corner, I guess. Oh, there we go. That's kind of weird. I don't know why it's stuck at the last corner for so long. We were all heading to the grid. This game is weird sometimes. You know that. We all know that. Anyway, 5 red lights are coming on. And it's lights out and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. We make a decent start. We're already past Magnussen, actually. We're following our teammate down into turn 1. I keep well away from everyone else because I learned my lesson last time out. I dialed down the inside, tried to get past Russell. We're side by side with Russell going down the second straight, going down into turn 3. Following Magnussen and Piastri. Oh, Hülkenberg and Piastri, I should say. And we overtake all of them along with Ocon. We make up like 3 to 4 places down in turn 3 as we move up to P12. We go kind of wide there actually, but the game will allow it. But yeah, we've gone from P18 to P12 within 1 sector, so it's definitely a much better start than we had in Saudi, and also no damage this time, so we don't have to pit in like immediately for that one. We have lost a bit of ground to Hamilton here, but hopefully we can make it up as Ocon Looks to make a move around the outside here, going into the chicane at the end of Sector 2, but we do have the inside. We break a little bit later and we hold off Ocon and keep our position for now. As we move on to the next lap, we've actually made up some ground to Hamilton as we go down into turn 3 again. And we go a little bit late on the brakes, a little bit of a dive bomb, but we make it work. Hamilton gives us the room and we move up to P11. We're just outside the points following Perez here, who hasn't really had the greatest of qualifyings again, but he is still in the points at least. Good for him. Hamilton has a little sniff down into turn 6 there. I think it's turn 6. Doesn't make anything of it. So move on late in the lap, we get a great launch out of frickin', I can't remember what corner number that is, of coming out of that chicane there. I don't know why I said frickin', that's fine. I make the move on Perez and then also make the move on Gasly as well going into that corner. I think it's turn 13 as we move up to P9. And going into the second last corner, we also make a move on Ricciardo, so we're up to P8. Within 2 laps, we've made up 10 positions. We've had a hell of a start. Looking at the front here, we have Alonso leading the way. Albon's lost ground. Sainz has actually made a very good start and is chasing Alonso, his fellow countryman, for the lead here on lap 3. Leclerc and Joe. Joe actually having a very good qualifying and race as he's there in P5. As we follow here with Max Verstappen, who's got the DRS on Tsunoda, but we also have the DRS on the pair of them. Verstappen going around the outside of Tsunoda in turn 13. Will he make the move stick? He does. And we also have a sniff down the inside in the next corner, but we decide better of it. But we are right behind. We're pushing Tsunoda along going into the second to the last corner. And we make the move going into that corner. We kind of squeeze him out a little bit, but we do make the move done. And we are up to P7 as we follow Verstappen down the road. And we catch up to him by the end of the next lap pretty much. So we head into the last corner. We got the DRS going down the straight. We're going to activate some of our ERS here, hopefully. And with that and our straight line speed, we make the move going into turn 1. And we overtake the Red Bull. Easy as that. At the beginning of lap 5, we're up to P6. With Joe just up the road. Will be a little bit of a while before we make that move. As we look at the front now, Alonso's still leading. He's actually made a bit of a gap from the Ferraris. Leclerc's actually made his way up to P2. Albon's still losing positions, but we got the Ferraris squabbling for 2nd and 3rd. Albon is holding onto them. But it's not been a great start for Albon. He did have an amazing race last time out in Saudi. But this time out, he's kind of losing ground. There's faster cars around him, even though they are all equal cars. So I don't know why I'm talking about that. As Sainz tries to make a move around the outside of Leclerc going into turn 13. Does the same thing as Verstappen did on Tsunoda. Makes the move done and Sainz is up to P2, overtaking his teammate there. Very good stuff for him. Albon's still sniffing behind there. As we move on to lap 12, we haven't really made any progress to show. In fact, Verstappen is right on our tail on the hard tyres as we go into the chicane of turn 10 and 11, I believe. He's right behind us, along with Ricciardo and Perez. It's a 4-car train. As Ricciardo spins out into the wall, Ricciardo is out of the Australian Grand Prix. He's out of his home race. Oh, what happened there for Ricciardo? Oh my goodness gracious. We got a VSC. We just kept ahead of Verstappen as the VSC came out, so we hold position, and we got the full safety car deployed. Holy cow. Everything has come alive. It's disappointing for the home fans as one of the home heroes has crashed out of his home race. Ricciardo, unfortunately, out of the Australian GP. As we head into the pits with the safety car, it's definitely the perfect time for us, being on the soft tyres. We move on to the mediums. As dictated by our strategy, I kind of missed the release the clutch string there, but we still stay ahead of Verstappen, who's moved on to softs. As we look again at what happened to Ricciardo, coming out of turn 10 and 11, he just kind of loses it. He didn't have enough traction, lost the grip, and just smashed into the wall. Driver error there for Ricciardo. Bitterly disappointing for him at his home race, but it is what it is. As we move here under the safety car, we are currently in P10 as we pitted. And honestly, the safety car came out at a very good time for us because we were going to pit soon anyway, so it just kind of ended up being very, very good timing, really. as we move on to lap 15 here. And we got some people actually pitting it under safety car, which is kind of weird. And we end up going up to P4 because of it, which is very strange. I don't know why you'd pit under safety car. You're going to lose out a lot of positions here, but I guess you're all bunching up behind the safety car anyway, as the safety car is coming in on lap number 16. We are in P4. We got 3 cars ahead of us. We've got Alonso, Gasly, and Sainz. Alonso and Gasly, I don't believe, have pitted. Sainz has pitted. So, I guess, really, Sainz is the net leader right now. And we're in P2. Really. Technically P2, because Alonso and Gasly do need to pit in. They could try doing the one-stop, though. They do have that option available to them. They are both on mediums. Sainz is on the hards. We're on the mediums. Verstappen is on the softs. Technically, Verstappen will have the advantage here as we move to green flag conditions. As Alonso and Gasly actually pit in at the end of the safety car. I'm not sure what they're doing there. They could have pitted in during the safety car and could have come up to the back of the pack. As we make an excellent launch at the last corner on the restart, and we actually take Sainz into turn 1. And we take the lead of the Australian GP. We started in P18 and we're in the lead after lap 17. Unbelievable scenes. Norris is having a hell of a time here in Australia. But don't forget, we got Max Verstappen on the sauce behind us. He is definitely going to have the fastest car in this section of the race. So we've got to pull away now, and hopefully Sainz can hold him off as Verstappen here closing in. But it seems like he has a problem. He's slowing down. Is it another DNF for Verstappen? I think it is. He's pulling off to the side of the road. And 2 races in 3. Verstappen's engine is gone. He is out of the Australian Grand Prix. We have our second retirement. Not what he's expecting to happen. Not what he wants for his title defense. But he is out. As we move on to lap 23, Piastri battling with Hulkenberg for 4th place here. This is a very good battle. But Piastri actually makes it through. Piastri being the only Australian left, unless you count Bottas, in which case we have 2 Australians left. But Piastri up to P4, at least giving the home crowd something to cheer about after Ricciardo's crash. But Hulkenberg, I don't know what I'm saying, I'm no good at commentating, but Hulkenberg does come back at him, trying to go around the outside at turn 13 like we've seen before, but Piastri is holding on. But Hulkenberg does have the inside going into the second last corner, but Piastri's still holding on. We're giving him the inside for the last corner, and he keeps the position, but he doesn't have DRS, and he's got very much a gaggle of cars behind him, as Hulkenberg uses the DRS to kind of breeze past Piastri there. Hulkenberg back up to 4th, with Sargent actually in P6. I don't think he's pitted yet, though, but he might have done. I didn't see. Battle for P2 here. We've kind of broken away from this lot. We got Perez and Sainz battling away for P2. Sainz going around the outside of turn 13. Seems to be a very favourable overtaking spot for the AI here. And yeah, Sainz is now up to P2 with Piastri closely following behind them. And we got Tsunoda heading into the pits there. And that kind of kicks off another round of pit stops really. But our pit stop is until like lap 40-ish, so we're going to make up a lot of ground here as everyone pits in. Hulkenberg and Sargent actually don't pit in, along with Russell and Albon and whatnot. So we actually have Norris, Hulkenberg and Sargent as the top 3 currently, which is a very interesting podium, but that is due to change as we see a three-way battle between Sainz, Perez and Piastri. Piastri going around the outside at turn 13 again, not only just overtaking Perez, but also overtaking Sainz in the same corner. That is the overtake of the race, surely. 2 cars around the outside of turn 13. What a move there from the home hero, Oscar Piastri, who is definitely doing wonders in that McLaren. Back down the field, we're looking at our pole sitter, Fernando Alonso, who really is not having a good time. He's down in 15th. Currently battling away with Sargent and Gasly. His pit stop strategy definitely not gone well for him. He's definitely lost a lot of ground. And it's a shame considering he started from pole. As we move on to lap 40, we come in for our second and final pit stop. We're going to move back to the softs. We definitely had a comfortable time in the lead. We currently have a McLaren 1-2 actually, which is kind of funny. But we are pitting in, so that McLaren 1-2 is kind of going away there for a little bit. But we are going to rejoin maybe about 6th, 7th. I don't know where the Hasses are. The Hasses are coming through actually. Tsunoda's also in the pits. We're actually out behind both the Hasses. And we actually got Russell going into turn 1 here. We just keep ahead of Russell. Which is actually very good, because that gaggle of cars behind us is... if we ended up behind that, that would have been pretty bad for us, our race. So thankfully we managed to get ahead of Russell there. But we do have 5 cars to overtake, starting with the Hasses of Magnussen and Hulkenberg. But we are on much fresher tyres, which gives us a lot of grip coming out of turn 6 there. And going down this new straight here, well, it's not really a straight, but there's a flat out section. We got the DRS, but our setup's not really suited for straight line speed. But going into chicane, we brake a little bit later and we make the move on Magnussen. As we move on to overtaking the other Haas of Hulkenberg. And we got the yellow flag. It looks like Magnussen, who we just overtaken, yep, his engine has blown up. As we actually overtook Hulkenberg there off screen, but Magnussen's engine has blown up. Second race in a row for Magnussen. He is out of the Australian Grand Prix. Disappointing for him and Haas. Haas were looking very good for some points here. As we move on to lap 44. We now have 3 retirements. We bumped into Sainz actually there. We had so much traction. We actually bumped into the rear of Sainz going into the last corner. As we have the DRS, we activate the battery, go down the inside, going into turn 1. And we bump wheels again going into turn 1, but we do make the move on Sainz, and we move up to P2, which leaves only Perez down the road. But we are on much fresher tyres. It seems inevitable that we will overtake Perez to regain the lead. And sure enough, on the following lap, lap 46, it's kind of like a mirror of what we did before with Perez, actually. The first time we overtook him, as we go down into turn 13, down the inside, and we are back in the lead. And, yeah, with us on the fresher tyres and whatnot, we're pretty much check out here. We tried to get 1 second ahead of Perez, but I don't think he's going to have any response to us, really. So, yeah, looking down a bit further down the field, we've got a battle for P4 here between the 2 Mercs, Hulkenberg and Leclerc, with Hulkenberg losing position to Hamilton here. But, no, actually, no. He keeps ahead of Russell. He brakes a little bit later going into turn 1. That's great defensive work there from the German in the Haas. But it seems kind of inevitable that Russell will probably overtake him. I think Russell is on fresher tyres. So we move on to lap 56 here. And once again, the favourite overtaking spot for the AI. Russell goes around the outside of Hulkenberg into turn 13 and makes the move stick. With Russell now in P4. We'll see whether Hulkenberg can hold on to Hamilton. Hold off Hamilton and Leclerc to hold on to P5. But Russell is in P4. Good result for him. For us, we just kind of checked out the front. We had the fresher tyres. We built up a gap of about 5 seconds to Perez. So yeah, overall, the safety car helped us out. But we did have the pace. Qualifying didn't really help us too much, but we did have the pace. And in the end, it's Lando Norris who does take the victory at the Australian Grand Prix, along with having the fastest lap. So we have kick-started McLaren's simulated campaign into life. Finally, it took 3 races, but it happened. Oscar Piastri is driver of the day. And McLaren do well here at the Australian GP.
Another superb Australian Grand Prix comes to an end then, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory. So, Natalie, what made the difference out there today?
Well, confidence breeds confidence. Success breeds success. They are very much enjoying a purple patch right now.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
So there we go, round 3 is done. Norris takes the victory at the Australian GP. I'm sure the fans would have liked to have seen Piastri take the win. But no, it's the Brit. He's done it. He's finally got his win. Still waiting for it IRL, but he needs to sort out his mistakes. Perez in P2, good for him in the championship, and we got Sainz in P3 as well. Looks like more like a normal podium than the last 2 races we had, but it is what it is. The simulated season throws up some surprises. So yeah, classified finishes after 58 laps. Lando Norris takes the victory and the fastest laps and maximum points to him. Perez in 2nd, Sainz in P3. We've got the 2 Mercs of Russell and Hamilton in 4th and 5th. Oscar Piastri still gives the home crowd something to smile about in P6. Tsunoda in P7. Hulkenberg does fall down to 8th, but he still gets a few points for Haas. Leclerc is 9th, and Albon, who did start in P2, rounds at the top 10. Rest of the finishers, we've got Stroll 11th, Ocon 12th, Bottas 13th, Alonso, who was on pole, sadly only finishes 14th, Gasly 15th, Sargent in 16th, and Zhou is the last classified finisher in P17. And we had 3 retirements, which were Kevin Magnussen, Max Verstappen, and Daniel Ricciardo. And there we go. That is the 3rd round of the simulated season done. Next race is 2 weeks' time in Japan. Japan being very early in the calendar this year, but it does make sense. It's on the same side of the world as Australia. So yeah, in 2 weeks' time we'll have the Japanese GP video out. We'll see how that goes compared to Australia. And we'll see who takes the victory there. Could be anyone at this moment. We have 3 different winners in 3 races. We'll see whether that streak continues going into the Japanese Grand Prix. As for the standings, we've got Sergio Perez leading the way now with 44 points. Yuki Tsunoda falls down to 2nd with 36. Lewis Hamilton in 3rd with 28. Lando Norris kickstarting his season moves all the way up to 4th with 27 points. Fernando Alonso in 5th with 26. Verstappen, who also didn't get any points today, falls down to 6th with 25. Carlos Sainz in 7th with 23 points. Albon falls down to 8th with 19. Charles Leclerc in 9th with 18 points. And George Russell in 10th on 13 points. As for the constructors' standings, we have Red Bull once again leading the way with 69 points. Nice. Ferrari and Mercedes tied on points with 41, with RB 1 point behind them in 40 with 40 points. McLaren jumpstart their season. They move from last to 5th with 35 points. Aston Martin 6th with 26. Williams 7th with 19. We've got Alpine and Haas tied for points in 8th and 9th. And then Kick Sauber bring out the rear with 6 points. And there we go. That's the Australian Grand Prix done. Hopefully you enjoyed this race. This was a very fun race. We managed to make the safety car work. And we grabbed the W. As I said, next race is Japan 2 weeks' time. Hopefully you join me for that one. But for now, give a like on this video. Make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.